Welcome, everybody.
Give everybody a minute to know I'm live if they want to get here. And of course, this is Ewa's version of the Cranberry hit. You know, the Cranberries. Zombie. The song's called Zombie. That's how it feels with all these crazy shootings that happen just out of the blue. Beautiful. Megan Goza did the artwork. Absolutely beautiful. Alright, seriously. It's me, Suze. And I'm going to document in to witness today my very personal beliefs, views, opinions, etc., on the coded messages that I've picked up with this thing that popped off in Aurora, Illinois. And there's a lot to talk about. And of course, right there on the building, the first thing I saw when the news hit was that family name of Pratt on the building, along with the 5 crosses. And the verbiage would be, should have never had a gun. This was February 16th. And I said its predictive, scriptive sets are up. Aurora, Illinois, 5 expired. And, you know, the family name that I was contracted into when I got married in 1987, unfortunately, is Pratt. And Pratt is known worldwide, come to find out, for being, the definition of the name would be trickster. And you guys should know how I feel about that. But, this is like so many things that we have wars over, which I refuse to engage in, that some people would term false. And there is no part of false when lives are just scooped up. And in the meantime, we have to look what's the same story every time we see this happen. The assailant is gunned down and dead men tell no tales. You know, it used to be when big robberies or hijacks or whatever, you know, would pop off. I mean, sometimes that person lived long enough to tell a story, but these days, there's no time for that. News is moving way too fast. And this came on at the 10 o'clock news. And the first thing I thought, as I was looking at this, was shit. I mean, Joe, didn't you grow up in Aurora, Illinois? And so, like we've talked about, Joe's family was very involved in these projects that people refer to. And his dad ran secret programs at Bear Monsanto. He was there when they picked out the world headquarters. I mean, You know, they started in Michigan, and then they went to Aurora, Illinois, and then here's St. Louis, Missouri. What was so wild about this was as it was sinking into Joe's head, and him and his mom had a moment to talk, one of the fallen from that day has the same name his father has. And of course, Joe's mom, Mary, and Joe both remembered that guy. So they actually knew the guy in Aurora, too. Now, this is who they say went nuts. I mean, you know, that's slang for getting pissed because he got fired. I mean, it sounds like the perfect excuse. And then you think how smooth a story goes. And the next day there'll be another tragedy and nobody will remember. But this would be one of the fallen. I grabbed some screenshots, of course. And this is talking about the new details emerging in the workplace shooting. This guy, I read his face as dishonest and smug. And I have no idea who he is, but I bring that into witness. And that way I have no prejudice. These are the people whose lives were ripped apart. And isn't FedEx always involved? I mean, let's tag Graceland. You know, one of the big controversies about the ghetto on Elvis Presley Boulevard is the only thing between Graceland, which is now a steel complex of buildings, and the airport is FedEx, and also a big stadium where they like to hold concerts. So anytime that you think it's good to have all your goods and services coming out of one place where they can be sabotaged, it's a bad business move. Now, this is our world news recorder guy here, and we know that when they work stuff like this, that they're working off satellites, and we say, okay, I can accept that, no problem. But this was the first image of the name Pratt that I saw right there. And to make it a step worse with the Pratt name. Okay, so now this Zachary is out of Indiana. And it's also called Aurora. And I thought that was odd because are we in Aurora, Illinois, or are we in Aurora, Indiana?
We just had a glitch on the screen too.
And we've seen both things here. So here again, I'm just logging in my testimony, and it's kind of like there's a Martin Luther King drive in every city. So when
another glitch
predictive programming is done, and there are very many sacrificial days on the calendar where the blood sacrifice can come, you know, say in a easier way than a child or a virgin tied to a volcano, right? They just need blood. Well, maybe that's why there's so many of the same, just to confuse us. These things always look the same. Okay, so there we go on that. And this is just really, like I said, a little short video. I did have a video of it. I tried to move it up before the show started, and I got all caught up in other things. Try to find it real quick. Gotta keep it hopping here in Sue's world. Hey, I'm sure you guys heard the big gossip by now. C.W. Chanter, my nemesis, you know, that really likes my voice, you know, or whatever he said today. Just the other day, he shouted out to Randy Morgan, Susanna Red, that's me, and the Avalon Forum TIs are for the most part individuals who suffer from paranoid schizophrenia. There are also those who love the attention given by people like you. Enjoy your high horse, Randy. You're a jackass. Well, I love Randy Maugans. I think he's a cool guy, but that's neither here nor there. The point of the story is, in this shooting, too, you know, the guy shows up at his ex-employer's place and shoots up the crew, right? But, seriously, if you're doing your job and you're fired, and you're already under duress, and you're already stressed out, and you're already aware that there are directed energy weapons that can affect and do affect people, that's why they pop off these days and just do these crazy things. I think it is a combination of all the medications along with the, let's say, white noise in the air, the agitation on the ground, the stress on the street, however you want to word it. Those are psychological operations. When you put someone under so much stress every day that you are almost betting on the day that they'll snap. Now, I don't believe by looking at that guy's face that he looked like a killer. I really don't. And I'm pretty good at reading faces and knowing people's hearts. But I would believe that if someone is available like that, that it'd be easy to build a story that that person couldn't take it anymore and lost their mind and their place. But here again, as someone that sees a little deeper into the setup in the script, I mean, I'm directly involved in it. I see how they make somebody like me look like the worst thing on the block and scare you half to death so you never talk to me again. But if you review my evidence and ask people that have known me forever, I'm the same girl. I've never hurt anybody. I've never been to jail. I do not lie for sport. I tell it to the best of my ability, and that's as good as I can do. Pratt on a building, and I'm not supposed to say nothing. Oh yeah, back to those Pratts. Now, Tim's mom's maiden name is Collins, and come to find out, they're either akin to the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds. I always forget which one, right? And they were in the secret association at the old Catholic Church behind the scenes. And, you know, every time I connect things and see things like that, what else can I do but say this is not a coincidence? This is serious. And I just had to log it in. I mean, let's look at the guy. Let's look at him. Okay. I said set up sacrifice in the system. So, the shooting occurred at a Henry Pratt Company valve manufacturing warehouse. What I think is interesting is the Pratt family here in St. Louis all had cushy jobs at Couples Rubber Company on Page. And back in the day when Tim worked there, aka Dopey the Turnip, right? But anyhow, they brought quality control at Couples. And it was shortly after that that they got busted making the low quality rubber for the tires. So you see, quality control was brought in not to protect the consumer, but to play with numbers, in my opinion. Otherwise it would have worked and they would have made great tires and wouldn't have went out of business. And I believe Couples Rubber Company went out of business 2003, 2004, something along the way. But the Pratt Company manufactures valves. Right. Police identified the gunman as 45-year-old Gary Martin, who was also killed. Now, at 45, you are in your crisis years, no doubt. 33 to 49. And it'd be terrible to lose your job. We don't know the situation behind it. They do go ahead to build it into that he has, and is very foggy, a background with violence. Well, don't we all? I mean, is there anybody in the house that hasn't dealt with violence? Maybe that's just because I live in Ferguson. But anyhow, there's your murderer. He just popped off and went to shoot his friends
Holy bad
in the middle of the day. Court records show that Martin had a history of violence, including domestic battery-related charges. Now, I'm the farthest person that anybody should be using an ism on or saying that I'm prejudiced or whatnot. But even my dark-skinned friends would admit that they grew up with violence in the home. It was normal and natural, kind of like if you're from the country, you get a whooping. So, all I'm going to say to that is it's easy to speak ill of the dead, and that is a legal term called hagiography. So he's not even in his grave. And he's guilty and buried. But here again, what if he was mind controlled? What if he was mentally ill or depressed? Because this world is so hard you can't get by. Because that's why most people are committing suicide, right? And of course we know if any cushy cush kind of American gets hungry, they'll kill somebody else, for their $10 to eat. I'm not defending the guy. I'm saying look at both sides. And also keep in mind, since 2013, it is not illegal to manufacture news stories. I mean, I don't like that. Now, even though we're indentured servants since 1871, and we're strawmen, we are held to a critique by the world around us, whether we are bringing you honest things coming out of our mouth or not. And I'm telling you true. How in the hell does even a retarded robot create a law that says it's okay to manufacture fake news? You tell me. I don't have all the answers. I'm a messenger. Martin was fired from the company on February 15th after working there for 15 years, according to police. A lot of people say that since there are days for sacrifice and blood is required, it's been happening since the Bible, the beginning of it, remember? But anyhow, there are specific days, and those days, when you add up the numbers, they like what the number makes. And they go boogie, boogie, boogie. Just like on my birthday. They love to spellcast on February 25th. Are you kidding? Oh, and they know my dad's birthday, March 24th. I was like, dadgummit. I mean, it's fascinating. And then you realize how they can write your history before you live it out. Huh. Bingo. Alright. So February 15th, that would be 2, the second month, and the 1-5. So we could look at it like 2 6s, because you see here for 15 years. So there's your other 6. February represents the 2, and we see the 6 twice. We could also say 2, 1 is 3, 5 is 8, 1 is 9, 5 is 14. Added together, it's 5. That's not the way to do numerology. I just wanted to show you there's 2 ways to skin a cat. There's 2 stories, and usually there is a third reality in there that we do not know. So I'm just tagging it. And of course, overhead we see suggested fact check. Trump repeated many old claims about the border, and I've already made my statements on that. Okay. And when the police arrived at the scene to apprehend him, he fired at them, injuring 5 officers. There's another 5. Martin shot 6 co-workers, killing 5. And we saw the 6s earlier. And Pratt's a trickster, remember? The family name Pratt means trickster. And that's why I keep telling everybody, I'm a glasscock. And then they say, oh, well, you're controlled by the Jewish elite. And I say, blow me sideways. And then they say, but Suze, your house is owned by the archdiocese down the street. I'm like, blow me sideways. Oh, you're already supposed to be dead, Suze. Hey, blow me sideways and have a lovely day. Daggum, picking on a woman. Alright. The shooting occurred at the Henry Pratt Company valve manufacturing warehouse. And there's that FedEx truck right there at the Pratts. Oh, Tim works for UPS. Tag it. Right, okay, we went through the pictures, we did the deal. I'm done. And I have many of these. Vic! Mr. Vic, is that you? Dadgum. You never call me no more. I love you. Alright, there you go, Mr. Vic. We're gonna have to hang out soon. I don't know if I can take you right now. We'll have to see. But anyhow, peace, love, and light from the Big Yellow House on the 3rd Cosmic Ray. And I'll see you guys later this evening with more pictures and more conversation about what's going on. Take care.